to say, would you like to come over and say hi?
Hi.
So this is my grandson, Noah, and Noah is a courageous guy, and he survived an amazing, not amazing, he survived a very scary night with his brother and his mom and his pop. And how do you think we got all through this? Who helped us?
God.
God helped us get through this, and so now Noah and Jack are visiting for about 3 weeks. We're only on day 1, and we've already, I'm tired, a little bit tired. Are you a little tired? But Noah are so close to my grandson. We have a lot of activities planned, but he said he just wanted to come on here and say hi and to tell everybody that that's what we do, right, Noah? And because God is good and he's got a plan. In fact, part of the plan maybe that Noah is going to tomorrow morning in front of a group of people. Do you think he's shy? I don't think he's very shy. I think that he's going to be doing that. But anyway, thank you, Noah, for being here with me. And if you think anything else you can say, you can come back here and say hi to everybody. You want to tell the people, bless them, and hope, right? Yes. Hope after your landslide. And that's what our show is called. Okay.
Bye.
There you go. So anyway, I hope that everybody's able to see me okay on here. We had a little bit of big surprise and issue with the Wi-Fi after I came back from my trip. And tonight I just wanted to kind of go back and talk a little bit about, everyone's feelings for this landslide. I can remember, let's start with like the phone call. If it was a phone call, it was just like that day of the landslide. And I want you to all know that I totally hear and understand the pain and that, I don't know, I guess very real moment that this thing happened. It was like an out-of-body experience, I will just be able to say. And but what we don't want to do is we don't want to continue to go back to that day and revisit that day and continually talk about, hi Mary, continually talk about the landslide and go back and do woulda, coulda, shoulda, because that doesn't serve us very well. I will continue to tell you ladies that. Is that you're to go back just cry and remembering the loss of your son or your daughter? Absolutely not. But those moments that we go back to those places where it's horrific. And I say I want to take that day, the experience, to go from horrific to historical. And that means ever that I lost the memory. We want to do something traditionally that can celebrate our child that has gone on to heaven. And it doesn't mean that. It just means you just have to continue to have hope. You have to do the things. And it's like you just saw, my grandson. And if you're familiar with the story, my son Randy, he lost hope. I won't go into the details, but he did. He lost hope. And in that time, he chose to do things that he felt were helpful, which was to be able to just take matters in his own hands, because he didn't think that what he done was going to be forgivable, and it wasn't going to be reconciled. It wasn't going to be fixed. And just say hi, Jack.
No.
Just to say hi. This is my other grandson, Jack.
Hi.
Jack, how old is Jack? And Jack is the other brave, courageous guy, right? And they both just took a shower. And I just want to say that these two boys right here are the reason that I get up every single morning. And they don't maybe know that, but you guys have to know, because of the reason why I get up every day, because I want to help, you guys continue to go on with your lives and to be able to remember your daddy despite all the things that happened, and to remember that we're going to see him in heaven. Jack fixing his hair while he's on Facebook Live.
It's hard when I do it that way. It goes that other way.
Well, maybe they'll send you some tips. So, but I just know that these boys would all try to keep going and to never give up that hope, because by what they did. And right, you guys. Do you know all of this? reasons. What was a lot of things that we did to be able to make things better, right? Okay. And what else do we do? To get a little bit of love from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they came and you can say that you came and you lived with Noni and Papa, right? Mommy and Jack and Noah came in and lived with Papa for. I just remember how long it was.
2 years.
Yeah. It seemed like 2 years. Noah considers to be his house that he has Lake Forest, California, to be a place that he looks at as he grew up, and I think that they have some pretty good memories there, right? Despite everything that happened, and because we had a rescue team that up and that got all of the stuffed animals they brought you, room they put in bunk beds for the boys, and they were wonderful people every day. I can't remember when these guys were in the hospital.
Lucky.
Oh yeah, lucky, all the things that they're not supposed to have, and every kind of slushy possible, and
Fast food. Food.
Yeah. So, but anyway, they just know that they can probably remember that. Leave this here. This is what happens when you have almost 7 and somebody's from 9 here, but they can remember a lot of the people that were very loving and that came in the house and just they made us dinner. They cleaned the house. They did laundry. I think we went to Disneyland. We went to Legoland. Do you guys remember some of the other fun things that we did?
No.
But most importantly, we just knew that Jesus wanted all of you guys to be here and to go on and to be able to speak. Yeah, you know Mary. So you can say hi to Mary.
Hi, Mary.
West. Her name is Hi Mary. Hi to Mary West. I guess it's like,
The thing hi.
Yeah.
I am here.
We got a lot, but most importantly, we just knew that Jesus just wanted you guys to go out and to be able to people and say, again, like I said, we made it through a very horrific night, and you guys can all do that too. So, anyways, why don't you guys go and you guys look so handsome. You smell so nice and clean.
You guys see you, Kathy. I'm watching you. I thought you were there.
This is the joy of having grandsons, and actually, most importantly, to see that they're alive and they're well and they're going to be okay, right?
Yes.
All right. Thanks, you guys. I love you.
Well, one more thing. Hello.
Really bad connection. Oh, it is? Okay. Well, I'm hearing it's a very bad connection, and I apologize for that. Yeah, it's just one of those things we keep continually struggling with. But I do hope that you will be able to see this after the broadcast is over. So let's go ahead again and just talk about, all those emotions that we were feeling. Probably you felt hopeless. You felt as if you were never going to get through this. You got up and you thought, okay, what is the reason for going on? I call those moments the spindrifts. And spindrifts is a place to where you're just thinking and they're hopeless thoughts. They're things of like, why should I even be here? Why did God have to do this? You ask all these why questions, and then you can even probably get angry, with him. And, I understand that, but again, we know, ladies, that God did not create this problem to happen. He's given us free will. This is a fallen world. But again, you have to hold on to the hope of being able to see your son or your daughter again. I do know that when I this book, God inspired me to not teach you how to grieve. He didn't tell me to tell you guys how fast to grieve. There's no right or wrong way. But what he did tell me to put in here was to give you the tools to be able to make these choices so that you could step up and out of your landslide the day that it happened, and to know that, initially you're going to be frozen and you're not going to want to talk to anybody, and you just can't explain. But in this book, it's going to talk about, the things that we deal with so often. And the one that I come up with often, and it is a place where I could say is a neutral place, is in one of my sessions called the look up phase. This is after maybe, it just depends on, for some of you, how it might even be as short as a week. Some of you just maybe some of you, it's 4 or 5. Finally break through, that landslide. You stand up and you look around at the world and you think, everything looks so different. I went to the grocery store, and I was happy, and I was feeling like I had the world in my hands, and it was just easy for me to, I don't know, just navigate through life. And then and everything's different. Your relationships with people are different. Your relationships with family are completely different. And again, I want you to know that I understand that, but God still has a plan. And that's what you have to understand, is that he still has a plan for your life. Kay Warren said to me initially, after this happened, she met with Marseille and with me, and I just am so thankful for that. And we both obviously had something in common, which is, the loss of a son. And she said to me and to Marseille, she said, and I know she said that to thousands of other women, in the midst of their grieving, and thousands of other men, that, people will say, well, when are you going to get rid of your child's thing? When are you going to move on? You should be okay now. It's been, 6 months, whatever it happens to be. But you do them when you can, you will. And every day you have to do something that is for self-care, something to get yourself outside, something to where you're not, you always hear me say this, is that I don't want you to isolate, because isolation is that place where Satan can have just a playground of, put a bunch of those spindrifts in your mind and take away that hope. And the other part of, this book is doing it together with other women. I have a mom that I have a lot of moms recently that unfortunately have lost a child. And the first thing that they did was they went to the church and they said, what can I do? I need to get through this. And, they've gone to different grieving supports, sessions and with other people that it was a generalized grief support. And it's beautiful. But there's nothing like being in a support group with a bunch of other grieving moms, because we understand there's this language that is so incredibly different than the rest of the world. I have to say, people will say, I understand, I lost my uncle. And, again, respectfully, I know you lost your uncle, but there's a woman has their child in, their womb. They carry them for 9 months. And then they give birth to this baby, and then they nurse them. And there's an incredible bond that it will never, ever go away. That bond is forever going to be there. Does the pain get easier? Yes, it does get easier. But the first thing that these women did was they got involved in some kind of a group. And I'm so thankful for those that have landed in the Grieving Moms Finding Hope. And again, at the top there, you can find out how you can become a part of this community of women that are linking arms together and making these incredible friendships I have been able to witness, and start to smile and actually start to laugh and be silly with one another. And I know you may seem like that is never going to happen again, but I promise you, ladies, it will. But sometimes you have to do the work. You have to make the effort to get up. I mean, God is going to be there. He's going to show you. He's going to put things in front of you. He's going to provide your healing, but you're not going to find it staying isolated, in your bedroom all alone. Trip I just was on, I drove all the way up to Oregon to visit my son and just to spend some time in that area, just investigating. And I would come across people that, I don't know, maybe you can just say I live expectantly. I live expectantly of God's plan for my life, especially now. I did it before, but I do it especially now. And I know, Sherry, there's a bad connection, and I don't know if I can start again because it's just something happened while I was gone here at my home. So again, I apologize. And if I have to, I might even do it another night this week for all of you that are having a hard time. I want to say hi to Margie. And Margie, I'm so sorry that you're having these spin drips. And yeah, it's not easy, but like I said, it does get better. But anyhow, I wanted to say that when I was at a campsite, the morning that I was leaving, I was in a hurry, had to get home. I knew my grandsons were here, waiting, living expectantly for Noni to get back. And this woman was walking her dog. I had my dogs, and you know how it is. I mean, we're human. You know, you don't want to make eye contact. You don't want to engage in a conversation because you've got things you have to do. And so anyway, I walked back to my travel trailer. She walked over to me and she noticed, because I have, you know, decal on the side, my Courageous Women's Club, when I was actively doing my equine therapy. And she loved the outside. She loved the dog. We got into a conversation, and then she said, she goes, I'm in the middle of a move. And she said, I'm picking up my house, moving everything after 20 some years, and I'm moving to Southern California. And she said, I don't know why I'm telling you this, and I get this a lot. She said, but my grandson of age, he was 2.5, died from a virus. I think it was 4 years ago, and her daughter was really struggling. Well, it just so happened that, you know, I, of course, travel with my books, and I, you know, enlightened her with that. And she said this morning she had prayed, and she wanted to know what she could do to go down there as she's going to help her daughter, because, you know, they're grieving differently. I mean, she's grieving as a grandmother, and her daughter's grieving as the mother of this tiny little toddler, and she doesn't know what to go in with. So she was on such a high, knowing that her prayers were answered by giving her, you know, the tool of, you know, being her daughter potentially being becoming a part of getting involved in a group with all of us moms. And then she said, you know, I've been part of an equine therapy, you know, where I lived, and I was volunteering there. And then I had told her about my horses. And so anyway, it was such a blessing for me to be able to be a part of that. I had a couple of different things. Hi, Michelle. She's saying hello to everybody, sort of. And hi to Denise. Welcome, Denise. And I know that it was very, very recent for you, sweetie. And I met Denise when I spoke at a church back in last November. And I'm sorry you have to be here, Denise, but I am so glad that you are here. But there was a couple of instances that happened along the way. And again, living expectantly, you guys, you know, you're going to have moments where you're going to get up in the morning and you're not going to feel like you want to do anything. But please, please, please try to look up to God and say, what do you want me to do with this, God? You know, this is surrendering. This is surrendering, not in defeat. This is surrendering to say, I've got a full day in front of me. I don't know if I can get out of this bed, but I want you to run toward your grief. I want you to run toward it. I don't want you to run away from it. You know, in Philippians, it talks about, you know, running for the prize, you know, and you're thinking to yourself, Jackie, are you crazy? You want me to run my grief? I know, but I want you to run toward it. I want you to face it. I want you to meet it. I want you to feel it. I want you to speak to it. I want you to bring Jesus into that grief, and I want him to fill in every one of those places that you're broken. And there's a lot of those broken places, and I get that. You know, I shared with my group, you know, I remember that I was looking at my son's autopsy that came in, and I was looking for something very specific. And unfortunately, I came across things that I didn't want to see. And I'll never forget that cry. I ran into my bathroom. I put my bath in my face, and I didn't want the rest of the house to hear me crying. It wasn't even a cry. I was wailing. You know, Jesus talked about wailing. You know, he wailed. You know, for all of us and for things that he was going to have to, you know, die for sins. But I just wailed. I thought to myself, I don't think I had ever cried this hard. This is not supposed to be part of our future, ladies. It's not something that, you know, we had planned for. This is the thing we prayed against our entire lives with these children. And for some of you, you know, you may, and I can't even imagine, you know, no one brings skills to this Grieving Moms community. Everybody's loved in a different way. What we are here to do is to put arms together to be able to help one another through this. I can't tell you countless amounts of stories that I have heard from women getting to be part of these groups and seeing them on a Zoom call and seeing the transformation from coming on, not being able to, they're just to having a smile. And me and my Jackie and my antics and making them laugh at the silliest things while I'm out on the road or what seems to happen. And in fact, I was just on the river, the Deschutes River in Bend, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to show them that I will go to the extreme to be able to show them how you find joy. And I jumped in the icy, frigid water of that river because it is Oregon and the water temperatures are not that warm. But I read it's supposed to be really good for you. Anyways, I will do anything to be able to make you laugh and to give you that hope and encouragement. But at the same time, I know that you are also here to make me have my hope, because this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing because I want to leave a legacy for my son, my grandsons, my entire. But in the midst of this, I am taking my time to have that self-care. I am doing those things. I am stopping. I put on Facebook. I started to do it recently, where the just be moment. Like, when was the last time that you picked a flower, a fragrant flower, and smelled it? When was the last time that you watched a ladybug, crawling on your finger? Those moments to be present and just to remember that God is still present. He is still very much alive. He did not check out on the day of your death. He did not leave you. He is here to continue to give you hope. And I pray and hope that I can be an accessory and to be able to help you to do that. And I'm not anybody special. I'm a grieving mom that has my moments too. But I just have felt so led to be able to be here. There's going to be, I mentioned that you'll end up being mine. So, and ladies, grievingmoms.com, and then /groups is how you can help. And also, if you want in your email daily, if you'd like to have the Hope at Sunrise devotions that I write, I do put them on book. It's been a little choppy for the summertime getting those out every day, but if you get it on email, then you can have those delivered to your private email, and there will be no solicitation or anything like that there. So anyway, I'm asking for prayers. I've got 2 days that we're speaking, myself and Kathy Taylor with 30 Moms Mending Hearts. It's our sister group, and Kathy has been working with moms that have children that are potentially, struggling with addiction, and they just become a family. There's a whole plethora of reasons why they're out there. And God bless you, Kathy, for coming up with that, and for Sherry for helping us to put all this together, because unfortunately a lot of those moms that had the estranged children, the ones that were struggling with drugs and addiction, ended up losing their child, unfortunately, and we need for them to land. And then God just put things together, and so here I am. And it's been 2.5 years for me, and I can tell you that it does get better. It really does get better. So I will look forward to hopefully seeing some of you on a Zoom call if you get involved in a group. And until then, and again, I apologize for the connection. I really wish there was something I could do. When you go away on vacation, you come back to a house and you don't know what has taken place during that time. So anyways, I love you. I trust that God is still got a lot to do in your lives. Don't give up. There are people that are out there that want to hear your story, that want to hear you share the experience that you have had, the worst possible experience that you have had, but you're still here to breathe, and you're still here to, again, as I say, courageous is sharing the story that comes from your heart. That's what courageous really means. The Latin part of the word is C-O-R, which is of the heart, and it's sharing the story from your heart. It's not holding up, being, like I said, the best athlete. It's not being some like superhero, even though I really feel we are superheroes. It is sharing the story from your heart, because that makes you more approachable. That people come up to you and you can tell them, just be real, as I'm trying to do here on Grieving Moms Finding Hope. So God bless you. I love you, and I'll see you next week.